up to another good morning. Time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure. We are all...
Welcome back to the 3x5 Life podcast. On this podcast, we talk about wellness, well-being, self-care, productivity, goal setting, all the things. I'm Jessie, and I am flying solo today. And it's okay because I actually have had this topic on my brain that I really wanted to riff on and unpack with you guys. It's something that I have been interacting with over the last couple of months. It has made me rethink my schedule, the way I interact with my relationships, how I work out and move my body. And so I thought it would be worth a conversation. We are going to be talking about something that I call cycle syncing. So yes, we're going to be talking about our menstrual cycles. We're going to be talking about hormones. And men, if you're about to turn this off and shut this down, I encourage you to maybe stay and listen. If you are in partnership with a woman or you have daughters or mothers, which we all do, I mean, 50% of our population operates on this type of cycle. So it might be really helpful for you to listen and maybe figure out ways that you can support these women in your lives as they go through their hormone cycles, which are very different than yours. So I think that everything is information, and maybe this might be something that would be worthwhile listening to. But for the women out there, I want to give you permission to maybe start thinking about how you schedule your days and your time a little bit differently and becoming more in sync with your cycle and using it as a benefit instead of dreading those, 2 weeks out of the 4 that we're just kind of feeling not like ourselves. It is true that our hormones fluctuate. So depending on what season of life you're in, whether you're premenopausal or you're in menopause, this might land a little bit differently, but most of us still follow some type of 28-ish day cycle. And I'd hate to break it to you, but in this masculine world that we live in, we are expected to operate in the way that men operate, which is a 24-hour cycle. Men wake up in the morning and they usually have the same typical levels of cortisol, levels of testosterone, their sleep hormones, all of their hormones stay pretty stationary and regulatory throughout a 24-hour period. For women, this is not the case. For women, from day to day, we could have completely different hormones flowing through our bodies, which then tell us to act and reflect and do things differently. And so I want to give you permission to lean into that and maybe take some information from this and think about how you might use it to sync your schedule a little bit better. We're going to start with the menstruation phase, just because that is actually day 1 of your cycle. So day 1 through about 7-ish is usually when we are in menstruation. This is actually the phase where your hormones are at the lowest, which is surprising because you think about your period having a lot of hormone imbalance, but really your hormones are at the lowest at this time. I like to call this period of time our high intuition. This is when we should be reflecting. So let's call it reflect and rest. All right. This doesn't mean that you need to shut down the world and go completely like out of your social circles. What this means is giving yourself permission to slow down. So when we talk about moving our bodies, this is when you should be going for long walks. This is when you should be doing very light workouts, doing yoga. This is not the time to do high intensity workouts because you are supposed to be resting. Your hormones are at the absolute lowest. And because of this, your left analytical brain and your right feeling brain can communicate very effectively because hormones aren't getting in the way. So I would suggest maybe using this as a time to tap into your intuition because it's heightened. So really reflecting on what is going well for you in work, in business, in life, maybe what are things that aren't going very well, and then using that intuition to maybe let go of those things that aren't serving you. But then also we can call this phase the manifestation phase because you get really clear on some of those things that you want to bring into your life. So this can be a time period that's actually very beneficial because it kind of sets you up for the things that you're going to accomplish for the rest of that month or that 28-day cycle. So from the menstruation phase, you go right to that follicular phase, which this is usually about 7 to 15-ish days, I would say, long. You're usually in that phase right there. So we'll call it like day 7 through 12 of your cycle. This is great for brainstorming, dreaming big, creativity, starting new programs, interviewing people, exploring new places and opportunities. This is where you should get curious and gather information. I love to think about this in terms of looking at those intentions that you set, but then also looking at your calendar. This is great for planning out the month of all of those things that you want to bring to fruition. Because of your creativity and because of your brainstorming, you can use that to help maybe a project that you're working on. The research piece is because you're so curious, this is a great time to look for how to plan a trip that you want to go on. What are those things and experiences that you want to do while you're on that trip? So this is an exciting stage in your cycle because your estrogen and your testosterone are on the rise, which means your physical energy is increasing, and that hormonal effect on your brain is just openness to new things and new beginnings. So this is when you can do your HIIT workouts. In fact, because of those high hormones, the estrogen and testosterone, you can actually gain more muscle this week than you can any other week of your cycle. So doing some type of weight training would be excellent during days 7 through 12 of your cycle. A lot of my watch will tell me what day I'm on. So it also guides me to say, okay, well, I'm in day 11. So I have this energy and I'm going to use this to build some muscle. Going to that third section of ovulation, I love to call, this is my favorite stage because I like to think that as women, we have this amazing superpower during ovulation where we are magnetized. We are a magnet. We're magnetic to people and relationships, and our skin looks different and people want to hear what we have to say. So this would be an amazing time during your ovulation stage to plan a huge presentation, right? You're going to get up there and you're going to blow their socks off because you are just exuding this confidence and this level of magnetism that really is kind of magical. This is also because your estrogen and testosterone are at their absolute highest. So this is when your physical energy is at the peak. In fact, you almost feel superhuman. You probably are getting so much done. You're so productive. You feel so laser focused. This is also when progesterone comes in. And so this is our sex hormone. So you probably feel sexy and dynamic and you want to have sex. And this is great for your relationship to communicate hey, I'm in the ovulation stage and this is an awesome time to tap into that. You're more likely to orgasm. It's going to feel better. It's a great time to connect with your partner during this time. So not just your partner, friends, family, anybody. Go out to dinner. This is when you want to plan more social and outgoing type situations because you also have an enhanced release of serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone, and mental sharpness and communication. So all of those things are going for you. Ovulation is an amazing time to just go out into the world and do your thing. You've already had that intuition. You've already had the planning. So this is your week. Or I guess it's really days 12 to 16 are usually when we ovulate of our cycle. And then that last part, the luteal phase, which is probably day 15 through the end of your cycle, so day 28 and 29. This is, again, one of those kind of inward stages I'd like to think of. You're really great at problem solving during this stage. I like to think about closing out. If there's been something for the month that you've kind of been chewing on and you know that you need to make a decision, but you've been kind of putting it off for a little bit, this is a great time to close out or problem solve that and literally shut it down so that you can start fresh during your day one of your cycle. This is also a time that you can talk to your partner, especially in the first part of the luteal phase, because your energy is still a little bit high and you do have more of that problem solving analytical brain. But I do have to warn you that second part of that luteal phase, so maybe days 20 through 28, you might want to not have strong communications where feelings might arise, because this is also the time that some of those PMS symptoms or symptoms that are imbalances for us with the hormone surges and the way that our hormones are changing can kind of have an effect on that. So this is also a time maybe that you don't create as many social opportunities. You don't go up in front of your boss and have a conversation about, the future of you in that company, right? This is not the time where you want to have a highly charged, highly emotional conversation. So I would say use this as a way to once again reflect, close down, nurture yourself because those hormones are falling. You're not going to feel completely like yourself. And the ratio of estrogen to progesterone will make you maybe notice things that you haven't noticed before. So pay attention to how you feel and then try to nurture that so that you're giving yourself that time to rest. It is okay to curl up on the couch with a blanket and read a book. It's okay to take long walks instead of going for a run. So, giving yourself permission to sync up with your cycle really frees you and allows you the opportunity to like be your best self, because you are manifesting and creating a life that fosters to these influxes of hormones that are going in and out. So there are a couple resources that I have looked at in this realm that I just wanted to share with you. The first was a book called Do Less by Kate Northrup. This was actually recommended to me, and it is about time and energy management, but it's all based on your cycles. And so a lot of things I'm talking about, there's some charts and some things you can fill out, and it's a very easy approach to this. And then the other one is some work by Sarah Gottfried. She is big on female hormone optimization. So even looking at like diet and fasting and ways that can help your cycle, what you should be eating during these different phases to help support, like if you're thinking about your menstruation phase, you want to eat things that are like heavy and grounding, like soups and stews. So there is a lot of information. In fact, when I told you that one of the best times to research is during your follicular stage, maybe you start researching ways to use your hormones and your cycles to your advantage. Just food for thought. Just wanted to throw this out there. It was something that's been, on my mind and something that I wanted to talk about. And Bryan had a crazy week, so I was like, listen, I'll take it. But feel free to reach out with any questions or just explore some of those resources. And I hope that you gain a little bit of control and freedom and just feeling a little bit better about, how we fluctuate so much, and not getting frustrated when we're exhausted and we don't want to do our workout one morning. And it's okay, because we do not operate on a 24-hour schedule. We operate on a 28-day. Give yourself permission and give yourself grace. All right. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.
We are all